7 guys, a combined 235 years in the Arizona Yacht Club.
Arizona Yacht Club,
like this, when I wear this shirt, like I say, I wear it before. And people say,
right.
I didn't know there was an Arizona Yacht Club.
Yeah, there is. Has been since 1958. Don DeFreze was sucked into the club in the early 60s when AYC needed his place to build a dock.
We'll make you an honorary member of the club if you let us build a dock in your welding shop. So being young and naive and wanting to belong to such a prestigious organization as the Arizona Yacht Club, I agreed. So all of a sudden, on Wednesday nights and Saturday, I was invaded by an army of sailors. I don't know whether that's a good term, but it seemed like an army. And they cut and fit and welded and sawed and fiberglassed and made a dock. Had telephone poles in it for flotation. It was a monster. So they loaded it on my trailer and they hauled it to the lake. Now we've got the ramp and we've got the ramada and we've got the dry storage. You know what? We need a committee boat. Don, couldn't we use your shop to build a committee boat? So I said, you know, I wanted to belong, so I let him use the shop.
You were young and energetic.
Yes, yeah. and I belong. That was the main thing. I belong.
Why did you want to belong?
Huh?
Why did you want to belong?
Because this is a prestigious outfit.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. I mean, you're always want to belong to something. Anyway, come to find out, I didn't really belong because they never did make this honorary thing official. I didn't belong until 1967 when I finally paid my $25 dues so I could race my own boat.
Bob Fraser joined in 1974.
I bought a Thistle, and I didn't realize it was a racing sailboat. And I got all these calls from the Thistlers. And they said, you got to race that boat, you know. And I said, why? They said, well, you got it. It's a racing sailboat. And these sails were, I didn't realize they were awful. The main sail would only go up within about 16 inches of the top of the mast. And the jib was all blown out. And these guys didn't tell me that. But so I was always last. Later, Bob Alley crewed for me one time, and he said, gosh, you've got to get some better sails. He says, I got some old sails I'll sell you real cheap, and they're a lot better than what you got. So I bought those sails, and from then on, I was starting to compete.
You're how old?
I'm 84.
And you still race?
Yes,
Why?
I love it. I love it.
Because he's so freaking competitive. I mean, I'll tell you, on that boat, things click. And that's the only way to do it.
Is he the best sailor?
In the Catalinas, I tell you what, he's pretty darn close. Pretty darn close.
The old Compass Points newsletters tell the tale.
Seal, Bates, Olin, Leshevsky, Dicken.
An active club with big fleets competing not just at Arizona lakes, but the West Coast.
Al's son and Martin charter my San Juan 24, and I went and chartered a big race boat over on the coast, hoping to make first place in the Marina del Rey San Diego race. I did this, and we got out there and didn't know how to operate the boat. It was light air, numerous things. Anyway, here comes Al Jr. and Martin, and they beat me, I believe it was boat for boat, to the San Diego Yacht Club from Marina del Rey, not only on time, but boat for boat. The only thing I have to say about it is I think you guys almost starved to death because Al Jr. only brought a little thing of bologna and 2 slices of bread because he thought they were only going to be out there for 1 day, and it ended up being a 2-day race with no air.
I remember one time over there sitting in a yacht club at the bar talking to somebody, and they were, oh, you're from the Arizona Yacht Club, where do you sail? Well, we got a lake and do this. And so I started asking them, where have you taken your boat? Well, I've been all the way up to Santa Barbara and all the way down to Oceanside or something like that. Where have you taken yours? Well, I've been to San Francisco, Los Angeles, Sea Cortez, and all the different lakes in Arizona. And he just couldn't believe that we could do all these things just because we got trailable boats, we can get to places. And he's got a big boat that's fixed in the water. It's a real pain to move it very far, and so they don't. sail in the same place.
Too, that Alan and his son took a 21-foot boat and sailed it all the way to Hawaii. 20 foot. Oh, excuse me. I mean,
No, don't want to make it too big.
When we go to the coast, very often we clean house and we win the races because we pay much more attention to the wind shifts. And in California they don't, you know, they just set the course and say, okay, we're just going to go. And here, I mean, we're constantly just following the wind. And,
well, California, the wind don't shift.
No,
Well, hardly at all, so they just sail. We get stuck on the swells and they get stuck on the wind shifts.
Pat Guthrie remembers a race in '89 from San Francisco Bay to Catalina on Mike Ewan's Olsen 30.
It was one of the most scariest things in my life, and it was definitely the most miserable in my life. And so it started at St. Francis Yacht Club, and you go through the Golden Gate, and you turn down, and the winds are really building up. It's up to 40 knots. And I went below. I volunteered to cook that night. And we were under the illusion there would be cooking. And so I went below, and Mike latches you in. And I was sitting on the bag in the companionway, I think, and looking at the Loran before deciding what to cook. And all of a sudden there's this trump, 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 trump. And the boat goes, and cans start flying all over the place, and my head was tucked down between my legs to kiss my ass goodbye. And a few minutes later, all of a sudden, 180 degrees the other way, and cans start flying this way. A couple of minutes, and you know, I thought, my God, I got to get out of here. We're going to sink. I thought, wait a minute, I'm in the air bubble. I'm the only one who will survive. And so a few minutes later, the hatch opens and Mike throws the spinnaker down. And he says, see if it's ripped. See how far it's ripped. And so I was checking, and thank God it was ripped, because if it wasn't, I would have ripped it for him. And that started, 4 days of hanging on for your dear life.
Sailing can be hazardous, even on light wind Lake Pleasant. Frank Bigelow trying to free a sail.
So Frank's standing there and he's shaking and trying to get it loose, and all of a sudden he loses his balance and a big splash. You know, Frank's a big man, and so after you get him on board, which is a big load to get him on board, you got to put him on a laser and then step from the laser.
Yeah, there's no way I could pull it.
Is that where they finally put a ladder in the back of the boat?
Yeah, well, we had the ladder in the truck. That was the worst.
So Donnie gets him on board and Frank on board, and he's thinking, I'll show you how to do it. So he goes up on the foredeck and starts trying to get the Jenny loose again, and splash, he's in the water.
Sounds like a candidate for the prize Blunder Bucket. Tom and Martin had never won it.
You have never been on it? I haven't been on it either.
Guess who's going to be on it next?
Yeah.
No,
you and I.
No.
we're waiting.
Well, I've only been on it about 4 times. My
permanently awarded to you.
oh yeah, they tried.
Yeah, the best one was when you dunked your car.
Well,
That wasn't his car, it was his mother's car.
And
Yeah.
I'm backing it down the ramp, and all of a sudden I don't have any brakes. And I grab the emergency brake and I give it a yank, and it came loose.
He's the mechanic, by the way.
That's the one thing I didn't restore. and the brakes have gone. But anyway, by this time I am in the water, and I couldn't get the door open, but luckily the windows was open, so I crawled out the window and got on top of the car, and I rode it till of course I'm right beside the dock, so I rode it till it was up to here, and then I jumped over to the dock, and they pulled me up on the dock, and I watched it, and the trailer jackknifed, and I thought, well, that'll stop it. Well, it didn't. It just turned around, and now the car's in front and the trailer's in back, and it's still going down the ramp. The only thing that stopped it, it was now about in 15 foot of water, and the only thing that stopped it is the trailer got hooked on the anchor of the dock. somebody got a hold of somebody up on top, and they brought a big tractor down.
Well, first they brought the cameras.
Oh yeah, well, well, when you goof up, there's usually 2 or 3 of your friends around. Well, when this happened, there was 10 or 12. By the time they got the tractor and everything down, there was now
water, and you were in the way.
There was now 40 people and a camera.
Yeah, there's a yacht club in Arizona, thanks to a great legacy of guys like these.
Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.